It's something we take for granted, right? You get a cut and your body just handles it. It closes up, scabs over, and you move on. But what happens when that process just stops? When a wound, for no obvious reason, absolutely refuses to heal? Well, today we're going to get into one of the most fascinating and complex reasons why that happens. It's a hidden crisis, happening just underneath the skin.
So let's just imagine this for a second. Picture a castle, and it's under attack. But all the roads leading to it are completely blocked. No reinforcements, no supplies, no messengers can get in or out. The castle is completely on its own. That right there is pretty much what's happening inside a wound that's been complicated by a condition called lymphedema.
So what is this thing that's sabotaging the whole healing process? Well, it all kicks off with a failure in one of the body's most essential, but honestly, most overlooked systems, its drainage system.
Okay, so our lymphatic system, think of it like this super sophisticated plumbing and filtration network for your whole body. Its job is to clear out all the extra fluid, the waste, the gunk from our tissues. But when that system gets damaged or blocked, well, that fluid has absolutely nowhere to go. It just backs up, creating this swelling, this edema, and right there, that's the start of a really devastating chain reaction.
The very first domino to fall isn't chemical, it's not biological, it is a purely mechanical problem. All that trapped fluid creates physical pressure, and that pressure starts to do some serious damage. You've got to picture this. It's like a physical squeeze from the inside out. The high pressure from all that backed up fluid literally crushes the tiny, delicate blood and lymphatic vessels in that area. And what happens then? Well, the oxygen supply gets choked off, that's a state we call hypoxia, and the whole area basically turns into a stagnant pond where all the metabolic waste and cellular junk just piles up.
And let me tell you, this is a massive problem. Healing takes a ton of energy, and that energy comes from oxygen. So without it, your repair cells, they can't do their job. They can't multiply. And even worse, your immune cells need that oxygen for what's called an oxidative burst. It's basically the chemical weapon they use to destroy bacteria. So no oxygen means no energy and no weapons.
So we've got a physical crush and a lack of oxygen. But believe it or not, it gets worse. That stagnant trapped fluid actually becomes this toxic biochemical swamp that is actively working against the healing process.
Yeah, this isn't just water we're talking about. This lymphedema fluid is absolutely packed with protein. And that protein-rich brew is the perfect environment for inflammatory signals called cytokines. So instead of the normal healing process, where inflammation calms down so rebuilding can start, the wound gets stuck. It's just stuck on repeat in a constant state of alarm. And on top of all that, the protein itself starts to trigger fibrosis, which makes the skin hard and dense.
So with all this chaos going on, how did the body's repair crews even react? Well, they don't, at least not in an organized way. Down at the cellular level, instead of organized construction, what you get is just complete and utter anarchy.
And right at the heart of all this chaos is a very specific molecular alarm system. It's called the NLRP3 inflammasome. Yeah, it's a mouthful, I know. But you can just think of it like a smoke detector that's broken and is just stuck on, blaring 24/7. This constant, relentless alarm is one of the main things driving that chronic inflammation we were just talking about.
And you can see where this leads, right? Those constant alarms lead to a total meltdown of the wound's foundation, what scientists call the extracellular matrix. The scaffolding. The enzymes that are supposed to build and break down the scaffold get all out of whack. And what you're left with is a messy, faulty, disorganized foundation that cells just can't build on. So the wound, it just can't close.
Okay, so now we get to what I think is the most stunning part of this entire cascade. It's the total, absolute collapse of the local immune system.
Researchers actually have this incredibly powerful name for what's going on. And it's important to get this straight. It's not that the person's entire immune system is weak. No, it's that one specific zone of their body has effectively gone dark.
So what does that actually mean? It means there's a part of the body where the immune system literally cannot see or hear the danger. Bacteria can just waltz in, set up shop, and multiply without any resistance at all, because the body's security team doesn't even know there's an invasion happening.
And here's why. Think of dendritic cells as the scouts of our immune system. Their whole job is to find an invader, grab a piece of it, and then travel through those lymphatic highways to the nearest lymph node to show the evidence and call in the army, the T cells. But in lymphedema, those highways are blocked. The messengers can't get through. They never make it. The alarm is never raised.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the few immune signals that do manage to get through are the completely wrong ones. The T cells that are supposed to fight bacteria, the good guys, the Th1 cells, they get suppressed. Meanwhile, the T cells that actually promote that skin-hardening fibrosis we talked about, the Th2 cells, they become overactive. So now the immune system is actively working against healing. It's helping to build a thicker wall that traps the infection even more.
Now, I know this all sounds like a really complex theory, but we can actually see this immunocompromised district idea play out in a pretty common clinical situation.
Okay, so take a saphenectomy. It's a surgery where doctors remove the saphenous vein from the leg. The thing is, the major lymphatic vessels run right alongside this vein, and sometimes they can get accidentally damaged or even removed during the procedure.
And when you look at these patients, the results are just striking. The leg that had the surgery, where the lymphatics were damaged, becomes super vulnerable to getting infected over and over again, from something as simple as a tiny crack in the skin. But the other leg, the one with a healthy lymphatic system, it stays perfectly fine, no infections.
This right here is the smoking gun. It proves that the problem isn't the whole body's immune system. It's a failure that's confined to a specific localized district where the drainage system has broken down. The body as a whole is strong, but this one neighborhood is completely and totally undefended.
So let's just quickly run through that whole chain of events one more time. It all starts with a mechanical crush from fluid pressure. That creates a biochemical swamp of toxic inflammation. That swamp makes cellular repair go completely haywire. And all of that culminates in an immunological failure, creating a localized immunocompromised district where wounds just can't heal and infections can run wild.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Now that we understand this entire step-by-step breakdown from a simple blocked drain to a full-blown immune collapse, where do we even begin to intervene? Is the answer to try and fix the drainage, or to clear out the toxic swamp? Or do we need to figure out a way to reboot that local immune system? That, right there, is the challenge for the future.